the needs. Hello. Okay, take two. This is take two because my wife just rang me to say that she'd bumped into Robert Plant at the petrol station.
Robert Plant?
But you didn't need to know that. So, I'm making this video to point out the fact that the government has just published its written response to the Motorcycles in Bus Lanes petition. And yes, surprise, surprise, or no surprise whatsoever, to be fair, they're not changing their minds just yet.
You didn't see that coming?
So this response is exactly what we were expecting. It should not be taken as a reason for us to all give up. This should actually be taken the complete opposite way, as being the reason why we should actually push this petition all the way up to the 100,000 signature mark to make sure that the government does finally take notice and change the outcome of this policy decision. So what have the department written in their written response? Basically, they've said that the department understands that the outcome of this consultation will have been a disappointment for some motorcyclists and associated organisations. Well, yes, they're right there, aren't they? Local authorities are best placed to understand the needs of their local road networks rather than central government. In the absence of robust data from the consultation, there is little justification for moving away from this position of local authority choice to one in which allowing motorcycles to use bus lanes is the default. Now again, this is a repeat of this misunderstanding. A default policy does not remove the choice from local authorities to exclude motorcycles from bus lanes. Just as they can with cyclists, they can put the sign up that says that cyclists are not allowed to use the bus lane. They never do, of course, but they have that choice and they can do it. The same would apply for motorcycling. So this is not removal of choice from local authorities in any way, shape or form. It is simply saying that the default position, unless there is good reason not to do so, should be to allow motorcycles to use the bus lanes. Now they go on to say the safety benefits for allowing motorcycles into bus lanes are not clear. The consultation aimed to gather up-to-date robust evidence primarily from local authorities. While a very large number of individual responses was received, there were not enough from local authorities to provide the information needed. Although many individuals responded in favour of, the vast majority did not provide any supporting evidence of the benefits or risks. Now this is a bit sad really. Basically they're saying that the evidence of the rider's opinion is totally irrelevant. They only want to have cold hard facts coming from the local authorities. The reality is the local authorities are not interested, have not been taking any measurements or collecting any data to prove the case one way or the other. So once again we're being left out because government, whether it be local or national, doesn't really care. The department acknowledges that some questions received a high number of responses, but whilst the number of responses illustrates the prevalence of each response, a consultation cannot be seen as a vote. Conclusions cannot and have not been drawn based solely on the number of people offering positive or negative comments about a particular suggestion. Okay, the number of responses doesn't matter, but then again the number of casualties doesn't also seem to matter either, does it? So what numbers do matter? People's opinion does matter. They took the opinion of cyclists that they should be allowed default access to heart and acted on that without any evidence or trials or data to prove it. So why are they not doing the same for motorcycling? So the response then goes on to say, research on the potential safety impacts for cyclists and the impact on bus services would be needed to form the evidence base for any change in policy. Whilst there is evidence of this working locally, this is quite different from a national policy on default access. So again, this is just a ridiculous comment to make. Basically, local proof at a local level isn't enough to make a good case for a national policy. Well, how else are you going to get the evidence for a national policy unless you allow national access then? Maybe they should run a national trial of national access and do some research and use that as the evidence base for continuing it. But this is just like it's a denial of the evidence that is there. As I say, nearly 50% of bus lanes in the country already allow motorcycle access. The world hasn't ended. What is the argument against it? It says, furthermore, the cost to local authorities of new traffic signs and traffic regulation orders mandating such a change or for existing bus lanes would be considerable. Well, first of all, we're not talking about mandating a change, and if you make it the default policy, you can actually make a small change to the traffic sign regulations, which would mean that there's actually no need to change any of the signs in any of the bus lanes. unless you're going to exclude motorcycle access, which obviously would only apply to 1 or 2 bus lanes. Therefore, no real cost involved in doing this at a local level if the government chose to go with a default policy. So they say without strong evidence for the benefits, well, what they mean is evidence that they will accept, because there is plenty of strong evidence for the benefits. This cannot be justified. The existing policy of local authority discretion also aligns well with our policies on bus service improvements, encouraging walking and cycling, and devolving powers to local government, which is at the heart of our transport ambitions. Yes, and this is the problem. The heart of their transport ambitions does not include motorcycling. They said it openly in the last consultation response, didn't they? The government remains committed to supporting efforts to improve the safety of motorcyclists, and this policy will be kept under review. I find it hard to believe that the government can make this claim, that they remain committed to supporting the efforts to improve the safety of motorcyclists, when they've just rejected something that we are saying will improve the safety of motorcyclists. This is totally contradictory. How they can put this into a written document and maintain a straight face is beyond me. So there we go. There's the written response. This isn't good enough. We're not going to accept it. Your decision now is, are you going to accept it? If you haven't already signed the petition, sign it now. If you have signed the petition, go and find at least 10 other bikers who will sign it as well. As I speak, we are currently on 15,357 signatures. That is not enough. We need 100,000 signatures to get this pushed through. There's a whole program of other activity that's going on to make this work, but the easiest thing for you to do is to sign the petition and persuade everybody you know to sign the petition. It doesn't have to be bikers, it can be anybody. If they live in the UK, they've got a UK postcode, get them to sign this petition.
Do it now.